So, as you guys know, I said I wasn't going to do another video on this, and I had no intention of doing another video on the Kylie Rodney case unless something came up that I thought would provide significant value to the case. And look, a lot of you will have seen the Daugherty Ron live where they went over the autopsy report. Now, the most miserable looking guest that I've ever seen on any channel known to man. But look, hey, at the end of the day, he is a professional in his field, and he was probably not best happy about being asked to potentially criticise someone else's work in the field, even though that person in question is someone who it would seem has in the past got it wrong. So look, who are we to go further into that? But yeah, look, it would appear that he wasn't best pleased about going over it, but he did. He did, and that was handled very well by the other guests on there as well. But what did we learn from it? I think the biggest takeaway from this is that at the end of the day, the autopsy, however thorough it was going to be, was never going to be able to give us the answers that we would want. And that's because of two things. Either A, they weren't going to release it in the event that it would have sort of satisfied what a lot of people on this platform wanted it to satisfy. And because of how long she was in that vehicle, in that water, there was just too much extensive damage done in order to ascertain 100% what happened. And I think that's where we are. At the end of the day, Kylie's situation will never likely be proven because of the delays in finding her. So now the question is, were these delays intentional or were they accidental? We have to, I guess, make a conscious decision whether we will accept that where Kylie's phone last pinged, in comparison to where the car was found, which was pretty much there or thereabouts, wasn't it? And we find her car eventually in 14 feet of water, just 50 feet from shoreline. Now, those measurements will have differed from when she entered the water and when they were searching, but not massively. We're talking about 2 or 3 feet here or there, which on the grander scheme of things, when you're underwater and you're diving, that 2 feet isn't going to make a massive amount of difference. And let's not forget that once Adventures with Purpose entered the water, it was literally 35 minutes that they found her. And we can make every excuse under the sun about the types of equipment, the skill in using that equipment, but ultimately a skilled team, Adventures with Purpose, with decent equipment, took 35 minutes. But we're supposed to believe that a law enforcement agency with divers, with equipment, who registered, 19,000 search hours, and I'm not saying they spent 19,000 hours in that area, but what I'm saying, they spent longer than 35 minutes, and they were indeed diving. So did they miss the vehicle on purpose, or did they miss it by act? And this isn't about conspiracies. This is about just asking the question, how is it possible, really, to miss a vehicle that is 15 feet long, that's around 50 feet from the shoreline, in around 14 to 17 feet of water, when the phone last pinged there? I don't get that. But my only sort of conclusion is that the police, law enforcement, were controlled heavily by the kids that they let run the show from the start. The kids very, very quickly stated that Kylie would not drink and drive, which pretty much then puts law enforcement in a situation where they're going to think, well, she didn't get in a car then and she didn't drive. They were then very, very heavily pushing the abduction. They were stating that there was people there, older people there, people they didn't know, to again cloud law enforcement. They were in charge of taking the tips in, getting, speaking to all the teens, etc. Now, I can only imagine that was this that they were trying to see whether any of these kids had seen Kylie driving her car, because they knew what had happened. And they knew that they'd been supplying her drinks and what the repercussions of that were. But ultimately, law enforcement, I feel that their judgment was heavily impeded. And it was impeded by those that were with Kylie just before she died. So there are some questions. There are some questions still here. And I'm guessing at this stage it is still ongoing. Maybe they are looking at things in the background and they're looking into the grander picture. I see Plunder has had her request for CHP and it's been denied. That report has been denied. That's the California Highway Patrol. They deem it incident, not accident, which is interesting. But again, it could just be us reading into it too much. But their stipulations surrounding not releasing that in that report goes two ways. In one hand, they're saying we don't need to show you, we don't have to if we don't want to, but they'll also withhold it if there is a chance of releasing it having an effect on an investigation, or if it could lead to harm of an individual involved. So are they thinking if we release this, there could be someone else vilified because of this? Who knows? We can, again, only speculate. But I think, yeah, as it stands at the moment, there are questions still left outstanding. But Kylie wasn't found in time. That's the be-all and end-all. She wasn't found in time. It was too late. There was too much damage done. And what needed to be hidden was hidden, for better or for worse. And now we just have to watch as these who were around Kylie at the end seemingly walk completely free from what I see, at the very least, is a death through negligence and non-compassionate ways. I'll catch you all in the next one.